Good night, friends and family. Ah, this is a special just reason tonight. So special. This one required two drinks. A little wine to start off to chill me out, and a liquor thing to pick me back up. Um, so welcome again. I'm one of your hosts, C Dub, alongside regulars Tech Special, Jojo Dancer, the Ninja. Um, Welcome everyone tonight. So here we are, January 6th, 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. I guess this
Happy
is the
New
first
Year.
reasoning of 2021.
Real.
Yes.
Some of us were looking forward to getting past 2020, but people are kind of harping on this 2020 thing, but sometimes hardship come in life, whichever year it is, but we're all here now and looking forward to a new day. So part of the new day that we're all looking forward to, that this was the year we're going to get rid of the one Mr. Dirty Donald Trump. And it's like he just won't go away. So some unprecedented things happen today, man. We have some other topics we'll talk about, but this is just too major to not talk about. So what was supposed to happen today is the certification of the votes of the Electoral College, which from hearing another senator, a former senator talk today, who had done it twice in the past in previous elections, she said it's normally such a nondescript process. She literally has no recollection of doing it. Right? It's just like, so you just show up and you do your thing and you go on. So it's supposed to be no big deal. But Trump, being who he is, has been, from way before the man lost, he's been talking about, if I lose, it would have been rigged. So this was from back in like September. I'm talking about this is going to be stolen, right? So he has been setting this up, building it up, and now telling all his people, all his like flunkies all across the country, to come to DC on January 6th. It's going to be wild. I mean, this is what he said. So he's been fanning the flames. And so what happened today? When they start off the process, going through the routine process of the senators and whatever, saying the thing, and then on the camera there, I was kind of doing some other stuff, so I was really paying attention. Then they start rushing people out of the room, like Mike Pence, to grab him and take him out of the room, and people are like, we don't know what's going on. And it's just madness. People storm the Capitol. Most people already have an idea of what went on, so I have to go through all the details. But let me just kind of get y'all's opinions about today. Anything that stood out, anything that you want to comment on. I have numerous thoughts. I could literally talk for an hour. But I don't talk as much as doing, so I'm not going to do it tonight. So Tex, kick it off with you. What are your thoughts on what transpired in this democracy of ours today?
Well, the first thing I want to address, and this is something that I hate to happen, whether it be black, white, or whatever color or creed or race it may be, but a woman lost her life uselessly, and I feel my condolences go out to her family and what they're going through, because she lost her life on some BS propaganda, because Donald Trump was just basically being selfish. He doesn't want to give up and just concede willingly, so he's going to do whatever he has to do in order to try to disrupt the system. Now, what I don't understand is, as you said, he's been rallying these troops for the last week. Okay, we all know this. We've all seen it on the news. How were they not prepared for any of this? Okay, I saw moments where they were letting people through. Okay, and even taking selfies with. I don't even know what to call them at this point. Are they protesters, rioters?
Domestic terrorists. That's okay, what they are.
works for me, domestic terriers. So my thing is, how are you not prepared for anything like this? Because if this were a Black Lives Matter group, okay, helicopters would have been flying, okay, real bullets would have been shot, not rubber bullets. Tear gas would have been, and this would have been shut down as soon as it began. But they let the whole thing persist, which is shocking to me. And I saw there was a portion on the news where I saw they were actually scaling a wall.
Yep.
Okay, to get. Now I don't know where y'all from, but you scale a wall, you get shot. Period. Because you're going somewhere you have no business, you know, going. So the fact that they weren't prepared baffles me, but it doesn't surprise me because I'm wondering, okay, did they really expect this and did they let this happen? The thing about me, when I see situations like that, I have to question everything because we've seen situations previously, like the previous Black Lives Matter rally. I forget where it was, where it was a peaceful protest, but again, there were helicopters around. There were barricades. I didn't see any barricades here. They cut the streets off, everything like that. And this was for a peaceful protest. Now, in this situation, they were just allowed to run amok. And it's crazy to me. It's just simply crazy.
Yep. Absolute madness. Ninja Woman.
So true. Well, completely agree with Tex. It's always unfortunate when somebody loses their life for whatever reason. To be honest, I started watching it today and my mom and I just had to turn off the TV because she didn't want to see that, and she didn't want to hear, you know, the back and forth of whatever they were debating on or what have you. She didn't even want to hear the guy in the White House voice. And when I started seeing the memes and the videos and the still shots, and I mean, I legit had fear in my heart because I'm like, if they're bold enough to do that, can you imagine what they think they can do on the streets to just ordinary people? So that's all I have to say.
Yeah. Mr. Cruz, not like Ted Cruz, Cruisc.
Well, you know, I agree with Tex because I don't know how they didn't see this coming. You know, everybody knew that this guy wasn't gonna go away easily, right? And he's been talking about this ever since election was coming. So, you know, I mean, my only thing is I was just disappointed how easily they made it into the building, right?
Yep.
I've visited up there. Do you know how many checks you have to go through as a visitor to get in?
Yep.
Right. So I don't know. And I mean, evidently they were after the electoral ballot boxes. I didn't even know it was just so available.
I don't know what the hell they were at. Yeah.
Right. So you had people was able to grab it just to secure it, and you know these protesters made it into the room. I mean, this is a very important process. How is it that we didn't have more security? You know, I mean, it's
so
just
that makes you question everything. Like, okay,
yes,
were they allowed? No, seriously, you have to think about
the
it.
footage they keep showing of this one cop that was right. I don't know if he was a cop or a security guard, but he was in uniform, so it was some kind of security guy. He was the only person there when the door was open, and he was trying his very best going up the first stairs. I guess he didn't think they were gonna follow him, and after they followed him up, he took out some stick. I guess.
I saw that video.
The police.
I don't know.
The police take out stick.
He was more.
I think it was security.
Security.
Poor thing was by himself. I was like, oh, Lord.
That's what I'm saying.
Take out a catapult.
This was a secure location, and he was the only one there, and the only weapon he seemed to have, was a stick. And the guy was like, "What you gonna do with it?" And the guy came up to him, and he ran up the next level.
Yeah.
and they came up there too, and he wasn't quite sure which direction to go.
I have not seen this footage.
I'm gonna send it to you, Doug. Because he got to the top and turned around like the guy was on the top, and the guy kept
and they were
coming
still
up the
following
stairs.
him. You know, and I was shocked about. I was like, this doesn't show that they were trying to protect anything, because it was just one guard, and he didn't even know what to do or where to go. You know? Yeah. So
I think that's what stands out to me as well. You know, I was kind of posting about this in real time when it happened. You know, I expected there to be protests, you know, because they've been hyping that up. I thought there may have been some clashes in the streets, and probably clashes in the streets like after hours. The last thing that I thought was that they were going to literally bust windows, climb into the building, get on the Senate floor, get on the House floor, all up in, you know, taking selfies in the chair, all in Pelosi's office,
putting his foot up, like
and you know, it's, you know, so they, you know, when I was watching it, you know, it brought me to tears little, because I was so angry when I think about how they deal with black people in this country, right? So you think about the situation and has far less consequence. Let's talk about like Ferguson, or, you know, obviously, you know, when black people get to that point is because, you know, we're tired of this nonsense that's been going on, getting killed for no reason. That brings up another topic we'll touch on later. You have this massive amount of people in the streets, and, you know, it starts off normally with peaceful protests in the day, and then when nighttime comes, people come out and, you know, kind of want to take advantage of the situation, you know, kicking out door Antifa TV, get some groceries or what have you. And for those, you know, obviously if you own those businesses, it's a big deal. But to see the response from the police in those situations, I mean, they bring out tanks, they bring out tear gas, they bring out rubber bullets. They are blasting on these people for vandalism, more or less as vandalism. And the way they deal with them like that. And so here you have these people. I mean, you think of who was in that building. You have the current vice president, you have the vice president-elect, you have 535 members of Congress, you have their staff, you have all kinds of people, and you just let them just walk in the building like that with relative ease. And, you know, it's once again, you just realize how, you know, the white privilege is something that's really, really real. Those white people, they had absolutely no fear of those police. They knew the police were going to do them nothing. Of course. And so that's why you see them literally climbing walls, they're busting out windows, and they're just sitting there and doing nothing.
Couple of them were punching cops too.
Pushing them back.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
I had no idea police could show that much restraint, you know. And, you know, it's not like I wanted them to just, you know, just start popping off and start shooting people, but at least do something. You know, hours into this, you know, they had all, at some point you just realized it was too much for the police. And to touch on the first thing that Tex said, how were they not more prepared for this? Right? Look, I didn't imagine that they would get inside the Capitol, but if it is your job to secure this place on this most important day necessary for the transfer of power, you have to think through all the scenarios. Yes. And it doesn't seem like they did, right?
Somebody's going to get fired or pardoned.
There's going to be a major scandal after this about how this was allowed to happen. So the police is one part. This part I'm not 100% sure about, but I'd heard from last night actually that the DC mayor had activated the National Guard, right? So I heard that from last night. Right. But during all this thing going on, all I see is, you know, 20 little police standing up there. I'm like, where is the National Guard?
They didn't show up till later on.
Yeah, so I think that decision has to be okayed by the Department of Defense, which is still controlled by Trump. So, as far as investigation is concerned, we need to understand that, that aspect of things. But I mean, people kind of respond differently once the people in fatigues with long guns, but that wasn't there. That presence wasn't there. So it was just a shameful day, man. It's shameful. And another aspect of this is just America's hypocrisy, right? We love running around the world telling other countries how to run their democracies. And for the most part, I think a lot of these elected officials really believe in that. But you see, once it's being tested, how they do nothing and they allow this to happen. Personal ambition above everything else and greed, it can be an extremely powerful motivator. And you just put all your principles to the side. Nothing else matters but us maintaining power. So this was, this was quite historic.
And I don't think it's as spontaneous as people are saying it was.
Oh, it definitely was not spontaneous.
That was very much planned.
It was egged on for. So I mean,
did you see that they had ropes already?
Not only that,
yes.
they had these very big
masks,
everything.
Yeah,
they had these.
They were prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
Big Trump signs that they hung over the wall, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like, he just came in and there was a coup and he took over the place. And the only thing you didn't see was his flag, a Trump flag flying. But they had these real big signs, and you have to go through the whole process of getting those printed and then taking it up there. Because how big they were, you can tell those are not light. They're heavy.
That's pre-planned months.
Yeah. So
before all this happened, so the Trump, then we're in another part. I don't know if it's in front of the Washington Monument or what have you, gathering today. And then Trump was one of the speakers. Of course, I didn't watch that nonsense, but he was after speaking. He basically said, "We are going to march to the Capitol." So he sent all his people there, So, after all that, to have no response for it, that was quite shocking. But, so I started right before we came on air just now. I was watching. So they eventually resumed because this has to happen.
Yeah.
They resumed the process. And, some senators are getting up and speaking. One of the Senator Loeffler, which we'll talk about Georgia here in a minute, she was one of the ones who said she was going to object, right? She said that before. Probably having lost last night, that didn't help her case. And also, she said, after seeing what happened today, I've decided I'm not going to object anymore. So basically, I knew it was bullshit all along, but now that I see it's real and people have died, I guess I won't do it anymore. So, kudos kind of for actually doing that, because not everybody has done that. So the point I'm making is the senators were just kind of going through the motions, acting like this thing didn't happen, right? They say, well, it's unfortunate, and just kind of move on to regular business, right? And so they went back to the studio on MSNBC, and they're like, it just strikes me as wrong that such a major event has happened where you have insurrection, sedition in the United States Capitol, and they're just moving on with the business like it didn't even happen, like we're just trying to ignore that this happened. So I think, a lot has to happen to examine why this happened. We know why, but all the people who enabled this didn't just happen today. It's because this has been, we have allowed him and his people to get away with things, give him an inch to take a mile, give him a mile to take, 10 miles. And it just kept, I can do anything I want to do, and that's where we are. So that's something we're gonna have to deal with as a country, because these people are not going anywhere. The new attorney.
Anybody else with treason?
Yeah. So that's one thing that I also mentioned today. That it is the fact that some of them so fool to be up there without masks or anything, no covering on their face.
No,
so we know exactly what they look like, for one.
Yeah, and if you've ever been to Washington, they have cameras
everywhere. So there need to be some lifelong prison sentences for some of these people. That it can't be. We can't just say, okay, that was crazy, and just move on to the next day. Like this never happened. So Trump is an active threat to,
of course,
the state of this country, and he's still president. Still has a nuclear code. Still has all this thing. Still has 14 more days to do more damage. Twitter ban him. Jojo, what do you think about that? not ban, suspend or whatever.
Suspended him. They suspended his account for 12 hours. First of all,
what do you think about that?
I don't even go on Twitter anymore. But
then ban you too?
No. But I mean, like what's the point? I mean, just what's the point? I mean, I'm speechless. You asked me my opinion. I literally have nothing to say. It's ridiculous. 12 hours for what? If at all, for what?
So here's my thing with that. For one, the 12 hours is nonsense, right?
Exactly.
Is because the things that Donald Trump has done from his Twitter account for the past 4 years, if anybody else in the world had done those things, inciting, they would have been banned long time. Yeah, they would have been banned, but they give this answer about, I think it's important that the president be able to communicate to the people. But if they're misusing that platform,
right?
So you have been an avenue by which he gets this misinformation out there. Yeah, they put a little tag on there saying this is disputed, but it's still out there, and he's been doing this, for years. So I look at 12 hours at this point. What's the point? If you, yes, it's kind of late to do anything to begin with, but if you're going to really do something, ban him for the rest of his term. While he still has that power, ban him completely. Because
they're not gonna do that.
But
Let me tell you why.
Why did they do something to that? Because people dead, right? So there are reasons. There are ways in which they will react, but it's going to be after the fact. You know what I mean? Go on, Special.
He has a lot of followers, and if you know how social media goes, you have a lot of followers, you have the potential to generate a lot of income for the company.
Numbers,
right? Man. And when he says
Twitter going to miss that money,
right?
Twitter not missing that money.
What happened is every
how to rich stay rich,
right? Every make a mucker. So everything he says, you have people logging on to his response and they're retweeting it, right? So it's a very powerful thing when he tweets. They're not gonna just suspend that like that, they'll talk about it just because everybody's expecting them to say something about it, because they don't want to get in trouble like how Facebook got in trouble for not stopping foolishness on your platform. They're gonna say something, but they're not just gonna just say, hey, we're gonna ban him for life just because of that. It's never gonna happen, no matter what.
So all right, so which I understand the monetary incentive to not do anything, right? So a for-profit business, they exist to make money. Cool. That decision should not be entirely in their hands. So we talk about regulation, right? If you are using your platform, if your platform is being used to, incite a riot, then that decision cannot be entirely yours. I could not go on the public airwaves on 97.9 or whatever and organize a mass riot or something. You can't do that, right? So that decision. So basically, it comes to talking about just the regulation of social media companies. Exactly how, and those details will have to be worked out. But it can't be, well, he's sitting up here inciting terrorism, but hey, it got hella likes though.
Yeah.
So we're going to do nothing. It can't be just their decision.
It's just a situation of the big bad bully and he's in power. I guarantee they didn't want to do anything. But I'm sure there was such an uproar, they said, you know what?
We have to do something. Yeah.
Let's do this. So, we can show faces.
12 hours.
Show people that we're still in power, so to speak. But in reality, that just made you seem more weak than you actually are. Because you couldn't put a month-long ban on them or something like that. Because people have been banned for lesser.
Of course.
Yeah.
I was just about to tell you. You have 100 million followers, they're not gonna just kick you off like that.
Anyway, there are many angles to that. Prior to what happened today, really the Trump part of this conversation was going to be about, his phone call on Sunday. But I guess he made the call on Saturday, where. I've heard many people say this about Trump, that he's literally like, I've heard former federal prosecutors, former FBI directors say when you hear Trump, it sounds exactly like how mafia dons speak. It's literally how they speak. And listen to that phone call, I'm like, man, he sounds like a don, not don in a good Jamaican way. Like a mafia don. Now, and they say that he doesn't give direct orders to do something, but he will hint around it. Suggest it. Like, I'm only 11,000 points, 11,000 votes behind, you should want to do something about that. You know what I mean? So I'm not telling you what to do, but yeah. And the fact that that there was fraud, and there was fraud, and you could get in big trouble for that. So I would find these votes. You know what I mean? I actually sat and I listened to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was an hour and 2 minutes. I sat and I listened to the whole thing. I'm like, here is a man literally trying to. We think the election done, and in his mind, if I can put enough pressure on these people, I can still steal this thing. So we heard one phone call. Imagine how many other similar calls he has made.
Yeah. As I'm pretty sure he spoke to people in Pennsylvania too. Because any of those swing states.
Anything that was close.
Yes. They were like, man, I just need 11. You can find 11,000. Like old boy have 11,000 just sitting down there.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I didn't even see this under my desk.
and Dub, you're talking about as far as similarities to him being a gangster or a don or something like that. Just think about the era that his family would have grown up in, okay, and how his father came about, how his father got rich.
Yeah.
If you do the research and look at that, you will see parallels and see exactly why he acts the way he acts.
Yep.
And where those mannerisms and that talk comes from. It comes from that era.
Yep. Doing real estate in New York. If you're dealing with construction in New York City, you're going to be dealing with some mafia.
Exactly.
And actually one of his I think it was his father's attorney, and then was his attorney also. Was an attorney for some mafia don. So they know how they operate, and they're basically taking that crime family to the highest office in the land. And we as a country let that shit happen. This is going to be a stain on this country forever. We are the country that elected Donald Trump, that whatever you want to say, it was a minority of the vote or whatever, an electoral college.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
We are the country that put this fool in office. The damage that this regime has done is going to be with us for, forever, really. So
it's Bill O'Brien all over again.
No, man, Trump not somebody that's Bill O'Brien. You tripping now? Oh man, yeah. So I saw, like Jamaica sent out a message saying we're really concerned about what's going on in the United States. All these other countries say,
imagine how they look at it right now?
Yeah.
So make America go around the world and tell somebody else about the democracy right now.
Oh, please.
Anyway, man. It's like I woke up this morning, got myself Sopranos. Y'all don't know about that.
Come on.
Anyway, woke up this morning.
That's my show.
I was on a political high. I didn't want to say I was on a high because people are going to misconstrue it and anyway.
No, you
Did somebody say hi?
But because of Georgia, man, let's raise your glasses, big them up for just it is such a massive thing that was done. Georgia has been a red state. Well, they've voted Republican traditionally for decades, and so Joe Biden to not only win that state, but needing 2 Senate seats in that state, and then to win both of them. First of all, think about when the election in November happened, how tired you were of political advertisements, of political texts, of phone calls, of everything. So I have some good friends who live in Atlanta, and so for them, that didn't stop. It actually got worse after November. So they were dealing with that all this time. Yet still, they came out in unprecedented numbers, almost similar to what was in the general election, and did what had to be done. Elected a black man in Georgia, Reverend Raphael Warnock, the pastor of Martin Luther King's former church, Ebenezer Baptist Church, for Georgia, elected that man to be the senator, not of some district in Atlanta, in a black area, the whole state. That means the rural part, the rednecks, the black people, Atlanta, ATL, all that. From Outkast to Garth Brooks, all of that. And how old is Asaf? He's like 33 years old or something like that. A Jewish young man also beaten, an incumbent senator was there for like 6 years. So it's a really big deal. Just to clarify exactly what that means. So now there are 100 Senate seats. So now it is 50-50. And so why do Democrats get to control it? Because the vice president is her official, first I'm saying her, position is president of the Senate. So she is the tiebreaker. So Democrats now control the Senate. And, I know a lot of times this, especially for people who don't really follow politics closely, we can kind of tend to, it may not be clear exactly what this means. So here's what here's what this comes down to. A lot of the things that we push for and fight for, whether it be, immigration reform or, $2,000 stimulus or what have you, or legalize weed. They voted on that, right? So it will get passed in the House, And what has happened since Mitch McConnell was there, so you know what? We're not even going to take up. So it's not like it was voted on, it was voted down. It's like, you know what? We're not even going to look at it. So thanks for your work. Take it and file it in the trash. So what will happen now is that the Democrats also control the Senate. Is these things will at least get a vote. Many people have to go on the record for it. So that it is, as far as what Biden and Harris can accomplish, that just went up by tenfold as a result of what happened last night. So this was a big deal. ATL, y'all showed out. I've been saying Outkast is overrated for forever, but I had to change my mind on that. Tonight, I'm Team Outkast.
Magic City to the Players Club.
Yeah, man. Magic City. Yeah. So, what y'all got to say about the ATL and Miss Stacey Abrams? I didn't even mention her. Somebody big up Stacey. Give Stacey our applause.
She did say it. From as early as last year, she said, look, Georgia will surprise you. I mean, it started out with, when Biden won, they've never had so much people turning up for voting, at least a primary election. So, those people, they see, hey, we can win this. We can rule this. All we have to do is go out and vote, just like people been saying. So, Stacey's been there this whole time pushing people, just go out and vote. She's been very, very vocal, and it worked out.
Yeah, man. So, basically for the past 10 years, Stacey Abrams has made it her project to get more people out to vote. So this is not something that just starts and she get a quick bust. She has been grinding, and not just grinding. You're grinding and taking losses along the way. They put in voter suppression tactics, but she kept grinding. Well, she said, okay, I need to run for governor, and she ran, and the same tactics come about, and she lost, and she kept grinding. It's like we need to get more people out to vote, and so something this is a remarkable statistic. From November to yesterday in Georgia, they registered 100,000 voters who were not eligible to vote in November, right? So people who just turned 18, so they go out and so they got all these new voters into the process, democracy can be frustrating, especially the way this particular system works. It can be frustrating, but when you see that, I saw a tweet today, which I think is, very important. It said, talk about the southern states, and it said the southern states that they say are red states. No, they're not red states. It's just that they're voter suppressed states. So like here we are talking about Texas is a red state. No, look at the voter participation in Texas. Texas is 50th out of 50 states in voter participation. So you mean to tell me that we have to have a Ted Cruz? No, we don't. We're just not voting. And it can be frustrating to say, oh, we did all this work and we didn't win Texas this time. Well, that's it. Well, be like Stacey. Keep grinding. It may not happen this cycle. It may not happen next cycle. But 10 years from now, it may happen. So that was a big deal, man. So I will spare y'all singing a little Ray Charles tonight.
No.
Oh, John!
No. But definitely kudos to Stacey. And like Chris said, she's been grinding for a while now. But the thing we have to focus on also is I would like to see her take steps forward in her political career, because she's been basically handled by the system. The governing laws in place actually held her from getting the positions that she wanted. So we have to right now look at the laws that are in place right now and get those changed. And all my ATL people, I hope this makes up for that Super Bowl loss, because
ain't nothing gonna make a. Woo! Can you imagine? Can you imagine being there when they lost?
Oh my God! But now they got a little ray of hope. Okay, because they definitely did their thing. But yeah,
man, that hot man. I'm not even eating. Falcons fan. Can you imagine the Texans lost like that? Oh man.
No,
Can you imagine the Texans?
The Oilers lost.
Oh, but at least it wasn't in a Super Bowl.
Still playoffs.
It must happen in a Super Bowl.
Of course.
Oh man, yeah. So big up Georgia, my ATL people. You did the thing, and you've made our democracy just a little bit more hopeful. Ninja, you had something to say?
No, I'm just glad that I learned something new every time I'm in your presence. A lot of that I didn't know, honestly, and I'm glad it ended up being a good thing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Especially a good teacher.
Especially the teacher. remember all the teacher end up, end up the same.
Yeah. Go up with another name.
Yeah. Just say you're the up top boss.
The principal.
The up top boss have 14 more days left. Then I'm gonna funny face.
From the very first episode of Just Reasoning, when we started doing this, every few weeks we talk. We have another police shooting, happen, and we can, as from our first conversation, we know the police just deal with black people differently. We're just more of a threat, just by our presence. For one, when I sat there today, even before the violence kicked off, and I saw those thousands of white people all up on the Capitol steps, waving Confederate flags, waving. Imagine thousands of black people that's up there just with black liberation flags. Imagine, even before they do anything, something would have kicked off. So just our skin is a threat, So we talked about the Jacob Blake shooting. This was a few months ago in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I don't know exactly what happened, but they said that he was supposedly breaking up a fight between two girls, two women.
Violence situation.
Yeah, so domestic violence situation. And I didn't see the whole tape, but from the point, what I did see, he was walking away from the situation, walking away from police, walking towards his vehicle. Police shot this man in his back 7 times. In his back. He's going away from you. Shot him back 7 times. Yeah, exactly.
How are you a threat walking away?
Yeah, I have no idea how that man is not dead. He's paralyzed. Changed your whole life.
From the waist down.
Yeah, waist down shot.
In front of his kids.
In front of his kids.
That they claimed he was going to kidnap.
Kidnap his own kids. Yeah. So, it's, and what happened yesterday, DA come out and say, we're not pressing charges. Sorry, my bad. It was all legal. And, so my we can't go with many angles with this, but the angle I'm coming from is, I believe that we are not only getting numb to this, we expect the fuckery. We expect them to do this thing, and we expect them to get away with it. And so I heard like there wasn't even any protesting or anything in Kenosha last night.
All them out.
Well, we can't even loot no more. I mean, so it's like, and I think that is a dangerous place to be, where we expect injustice, and inevitably it happens, and then we move on, and then another month going to come by, and then another hashtag, and then and it's just becoming routine, and that's what is just infuriates me is that not only do they face no consequences, but we are also getting numb to it.
Yeah.
Are my concerns valid?
Well, before you got that, sir, you know, the white people were actually preparing for it because on the news report, they were actually battening down businesses because they were expecting us to riot.
So they were more prepared.
Yes.
Than the Capitol Police.
Yeah, exactly. Can't tell me that something don't smell right there. Anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, sometimes I just think they're just waiting for us to take revenge on what they did. You know, not just in recent times, but from way back during slavery. Sometimes I just think they're just sitting back waiting because they're expecting something. You know why they're expecting it? Because they know if it was them and we had them in slavery, it would have gone totally different. You know, they wouldn't have had no peace. We would have been in war ever since they were set free. So, I just get the feeling that they're just expecting that any time now because they know what they did. Right?
Slow down, though. I took it to the head.
Refill.
So now on to the vodka.
Yeah, I was listening to the district attorney talk.
Halfway through.
If you listen to the speech he gave, the presentation he gave as to the reason why the police wasn't charged, he didn't even sound like he believed it, right?
I couldn't even watch that.
I didn't watch it.
But you know, you're just shaking your head. It was like, oh my God, because he's saying that the guy had a knife in his car, but the cop didn't know that.
Exactly.
Didn't know that. Right?
Yeah. So, in his car.
Yeah.
You know.
So
he wasn't in his car.
No. You know, so he didn't even. If you watch it, you will see what I'm saying. He really didn't even believe it. But he had to say something because you know police have this immunity going for them. So all we have to do is be present, and we're a threat. We're threatening them. We're almost killing them. They are in fear for their life because a black man is standing there. He must be up to something. He must be plotting to kill me. You know, and that's the stance all of them take. You know, once you're there, you're about to kill them. So you know, it's not gonna get any better. You're going to have more and more and more. And I really don't know what the fix for this is. You know, because you hear people talk about defund the police, have police reform. We've been having reform since civil rights movement.
We've been talking about things should happen.
Ain't nothing going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Because they still believe that black people need to be handled. And until we're handled and under control, they don't think that the cops should always be praised for what they did. They were wonderful people on both sides. Wasn't it?
Good point.
Wasn't it?
Queen, what you say?
Well, going back to what you said about most of us unfortunately becoming, I guess, immune or used to treatment like this or what have you. Funny enough, stuff like this takes me back to when Ricardo's Party Hall was on Beach Nut and I had gotten kidnapped and robbed and carjacked at gunpoint. And I was on Channel 13 News, and big up Jessica Wiley. She's a Caucasian lady. She was like legit concerned about me. She's the one that did my story. However, more Caucasian people made comments under that video about how I was possibly doing some type of insurance fraud, and they didn't believe what happened. Yep. Yes, and even Brian chimed in on it. And one or two times when I think back on that, I'm like, what if I was a white chick? What if I was Caucasian? Would I have been treated differently? Would more have been done? You know,
let me answer that for you.
Yeah, but you know, and it's like that's nothing compared to, you know, somebody being shot 7 times, but something as simple as that makes me think like, wow, And I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah, no. I'm finished.
I forgot all about that. Got that street cred.
It was long ago. But yeah,
In them
like,
streets. Yeah.
So, well, getting back to the original question, Chris, yeah, there is valid. It just pisses me off, but there's valid concern there. Here's what happens when people start not caring about something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've been in a relationship, you know, before, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And at the point you stop caring, guess what?
It's a wrap.
Anything goes.
Yes.
Anything, I don't care. Anything goes. And to just address Speshy's question about, you know, what we could do about it. Nothing is going to change until we actually see on video that a cop tried to kill a black man and a black man took the gun away and killed him. You understand what I'm saying? So nothing is going to change. As much as we say Black Lives Matter, they're not going to say it, but they're going to show us that they feel like it doesn't. And this is a prime example. It doesn't matter how many people, you know, supposedly stand with us. There's always going to be those out there that won't say anything, but by not saying anything, that speaks louder than anything.
a lot. Yep.
Yeah, y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I've always prided myself on, you know, saying that America is a country in crisis. If we're in crisis, we stick together. Here's what affects me. Guess what? Now I'm going to be a lot more reserved about, you know, joining with my fellow Americans or anything, knowing how they feel about me. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because when situations happen, you know, you see out in the streets, it's black and brown and white people together. Guess what happens? Guess what happens now during all this you know, Trump presidency? What this shit is like? What you think people feel about you is not necessarily true. Because how I look at things at this point is half of America don't fuck with me at all.
Straight up.
What's the number? How much voted for him? Like almost 80 million, something like that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Just don't. Because you couldn't possibly. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm talking about us as, you know, black people, Caribbean people, you know, people of color. They don't. As much as we want to, you know, it's human nature to think, okay, everybody's good, you know, and everybody's for you, and let's give people a chance. But now, it's like, I don't know, man. You know, y'all showed me in numbers, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember making this post. This was like in 2016 when Trump was running, saying basically, if you support Trump, either you are a racist or you're indifferent to racism. You know, it's just not that big of a deal to you. So do I believe that all 74 million or however much voted for him are out and out racist? No, I'm sure a lot of those people would be cool with you. They would go have drinks with you. They might come to your house. They may kick it with you. But when shit goes down and hits the fan, are they going to be there with you? No, they don't like you like that.
Right.
You know, so if they see, you know, like there's they're on my Facebook, so I'm going to talk about them. But there are some people that we've known for a long time. You know, where through this Trump presidency, we've gotten to learn a different side of them. Let me just say it that way. And it's again the nicest people to us, but we've realized that, you know what, we were just the good ones. They thought we were the good ones. You know, they were educated, and we were the good ones. They went to school, they were the good ones. But a lot of that has been revealed. And hey, you know, so, but that's, you know, I'd been off the subject of what I was going to say about this, just the danger of this being numb to this thing happening is that the next thing, it's like it's programmed what's going to happen, right? There's going to be a shooting. right? And then the next day we'll hear about it, and it's going to leave the news, and we're going to be outraged. They're going to be posts. They're going to be. We'll talk about unjust reasoning. There'll be hashtags. They'll call Al Sharpton. They'll call Ben Crump. Give it more attention. All that will happen, and then we'll get all up in arms. We'll march in the streets. There may even be some looting. There may be a couple fires, and the whole time, police are going to just sit back and do nothing. They're going to say nothing, and then it's going to go away. After about maybe 2 weeks, it will go out of the national consciousness, and you don't hear anything about it. Meanwhile, it's going to be, they're doing looking it up and find evidence or what have you. And about 4 months later from that, they're going to come out. The DA going to say there are no charges. We're going to get pissed off. Then we go back to normal. This is in a loop. This is what happens. And one thing that we've said here is what changes this is when police start paying with their freedom. Once they start getting, and the difficulty in that is that there are hundreds of police departments around the country, all managed differently. So there's no standard, rules about force. Now, that's one of the things that we're looking for from this Biden-Harris administration. There are some things, I don't remember the details of it, that the Obama Department of Justice had put into place for, made some recommendations around use of force, like required use of force for police departments. And, so getting those kind of things implemented, like this is the standard. And if you go beyond the standard, then these are the penalties. So that's difficult to implement. And there are a lot of technical details around that. But again, we have to start seeing people being held accountable. And there are actions that's going to have to happen on a city by city, police department by police department basis. And there are things that have to be done at the federal level. So that's, now that we have the Senate and the House, these are things that we need to push for. Police reform, and again, it's because of the way America is structured, the federal government can only do so much as it affects local, police departments, but there are things that they can do. So we're going to have to push them in that direction. I need to understand that better so I can present it better about exactly what can be done. But yeah, they need to start paying with their freedom. And long as they don't, what's going to stop the next police who pull over somebody, it's not even in their mind that I may even go to jail. So they don't think twice about it. You know what I mean? So, anyway, Special, any last comments on that before we go to our line? Go on.
Well, as I said, reform have to come down hard. It have to come down real effective when, as you said, police have to start go to jail, right? Me know yes about, basically them just need to start lose money, but them have to start go to jail.
No. I said lose freedom. They need to lose freedom.
Them have to start go to jail.
Start lock up a man.
And then have to start see them peers going to jail. For them start, think about things before them do it. Because now them can go off half-cocked and then have nothing to worry about. Because, they always have that to fall back on. Because they know the rest of the police department is going to have their backs. And they have to also, be able to speak up. Because there's a lot of good cops that want to say something. But they know how they're going to be treated if they do say something.
It's like three good cops. It's like Desiree and 12 people.
I want to believe that there are more cops like that.
Man, I would like to believe that too, but I know all three of them.
The cops are the biggest gang in the world.
Okay? Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not as well as Chris said. All of the local police departments are governed differently, but the one thing they have in common is each other, and they stick together. So it doesn't matter what happens, okay? They're going to stick together. And they know they have the support of the governor and local bodies as well. So nothing is going to stop them. Okay.
Yeah, and I remember we were talking to Officer Linus about that, and just saying that, yeah, there is a lot of pressure within the department to kind of toe the line, right? And if you speak out in a certain way, then you get to kind of ostracize. Her. She was like, for one, I get it double. I'm a woman. I'm a black woman also, so I get that double. You know what I mean? So that's the fact that unit is so tight. No matter what kind of foolishness the police do, they're going to have his back. So that's why you just feel that they're all bad. Because we don't hear from the good ones unless she come on just reason.
So I just won.
Yeah. Just she and another a frat brother, man. So I know 2 good police. That's it. The rest of them, fire burn them. Anyway, man. So a couple more topics. We had some longer topics, but we'll have to pick that up next week. Trump mash up their program. Hey, you remember the what we were talking about last week with the Cayman Islands thing?
Yeah.
Hey, the Caribbean not playing, man. So actually, I don't know what happened with this one, but Miss in Barbados, a former Miss England and her boyfriend went to Barbados, and they take the COVID test at the airport and then go where they're going. And they got the results later that day saying that he had tested positive. Now the rule, if you test positive, is that you then have to quarantine for like 14 days or something like that. So I guess they didn't feel they wanted to do that. So like, you know what? We're just going to go back to England. So they tried to just go back the next day and leave and go back. And you can't do that. So they hold them and they force them into quarantine. But a lot of the Bajans saying, we need to make an example of them, we need to lock them up. So so hey, if you think you're going to go to the Caribbean and break COVID rules and live good life, nope, we're not playing that. So, but they have not gone to jail, but they're just on a forced quarantine right now. But Bajan, do you think they should go to jail or just pay a big fine, or what do you think?
Well, I don't think going back home should be punitive. If they want to go back to England where the second phase,
but
run, however they.
But watch here. From they get the COVID test, now they have to catch taxi, right? So taxi, go back to the airport. You can infect the driver.
Exposure.
Right? Exposure. Once you get to the airport, you can expose a bunch of other people. So that's why they say, no, sit your ass down in this hotel for the next 14 days. Yeah. It's a nice hotel, right?
Barbados a good place to be quarantined to.
Yeah. Exactly. So, hey, anyway, so I had some other. We'll talk about this next week. Apparently, Africa is immune to coronavirus, but anyway, I have to present that in more detail. But we're talking about hotels right now, and a fitting way to end this is the passing of a legendary Jamaican, Mr. Butch Stewart. Butch Stewart, the founder of Sandals. Sandals is probably, I don't know if it's just because I'm from Jamaica. It's probably one of the most popular resorts in the world.
Upscale,
upscale resorts. He passed a couple of days ago at age 79. And I didn't know much about his background. I just know Butch. Butch Rich and Butch have all this stuff. And so, I just read a little bit about his background. And, he started from early. Like, you hear a lot of these entrepreneurs who build really successful businesses. It was evident from early. From he was like 12 years old, he bought a canoe. and he bought a canoe. His family didn't have money, right? Just a regular. He wasn't probably not in poverty, but just a regular kid. He bought a canoe and would go out and fish every day.
He built it from what?
Well, they said built. They said bought. So, built, bought. Anyway, the point is, with a canoe, go out every day and fish, and get fish and come back and sell it. Sell it to restaurants and what have you. And so that started his entrepreneurial journey. He got educated in the UK, and he was selling like air conditioned, and then started an air conditioned business, and then he renovated a hotel in Mobay, and then that was his first property, and that it eventually became Sandals Montego Bay. Now it went from Sandals Montego Bay to Sandals, like 11 of them throughout the Caribbean. That's just for couples, and then from that, beaches resort, which is more for families. And so when we think about how important the tourism industry is to Jamaica, he is by far the most significant person in that industry. And think of all the major all-inclusive hotels that have come about since that. So just a pioneer, and salute. So what y'all have to comments about, but here are some other things I want to say, but share your thoughts about Mr. Stewart. I've never been to Sandals, by the way. And I have that special kind of money.
Well, I have, and I enjoy.
I know you have.
Sandals is one of the few. Sandals is one of the few hotels where you can go to one, you're a guest of one, and you're a guest of all.
Oh,
right. So what they have transportation where it'll take you from one hotel to any of the others that are on the island that you want to go.
I didn't know this.
Yes.
How about if it's on another island? Never carry you?
No.
Here you go, boy.
So I mean, if
give a brother a discount.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the great things about going to a Sandals, because some of them have different cuisines in the hotel. So if you want to go to one that does all seafood, you can go to, I think, the one in Ocho Rios, where you can get the seafood. So you can eat seafood all day, every meal, if you want to, right?
From you say it's cuisine, I know it's real food. You never say just food. It's cuisine.
No, cuisine, right?
Let me just add to that.
So it's not like a kapate shop.
No. But let me add to Special. I'm gonna let Special finish. So they also have family inclusive resorts.
Right.
So if say
you got Sandals too?
Yeah, man. So say
boy, y'all rich. Start hanging out with y'all.
I bring my
rich cousins
to the Sandals Disney Resort, and then I want to leave them with the babysitter or whatever, and run across the way to the the couples,
the adult,
with wifey, and let her do her thing.
Hey!
We can do it. But anyway, go on.
Hey! Come on now.
But
it's a family show, bro.
Yeah.
Talking about dinner and drinks.
Okay, gotcha.
But it might be pricey, but for what you get, you can even get a personal butler, right? In Royal Caribbean.
I don't need all that. I don't need all that.
But I
don't need everybody.
My point is,
yeah.
I'm good.
Putting on my socks and shining my head and all that. No, I don't need all that, dog.
But my point is, the business structure that he set up and the service structure that he set up in Sandals is become the template for the other hotels.
Yeah.
I mean, you having the servers dressed in uniforms and real clean, real friendly. He was the one that was guiding all of that, where you have to almost have a first degree to work down there. Right? They're trained. You're trained in hospitality.
No, I have to go to a Sandals.
Right.
So I've always been like, I love going to like a guest house and I can cook more, But anyway, that's my thing. Nikki, she want to go to Sandals.
Yeah, and one of the things, if you go to Royal Caribbean.
What you trying to say? She bougie or something?
I didn't say that. Tex.
but one of the thing is
implying.
One of the thing is when you go to a sandal, they give you the option of doing at least one excursion for free. You don't have to pay for it. It's part of your package. So
it's not
most
free.
people
It's free after your $1,000 a night.
Well, no, it's not $1,000 a night, but it's pricey enough.
500?
No, it's less than that. You don't have to
300.
If you want the butler, you might can run to about
300?
$500. No, man, it's less than
So what if I want to stay like half a night?
They're not running a motel. It's not a motel.
You can just get a day. Exactly, Jojo. Get a day pass, go eat, and leave.
So I just want just a couple hours. Just a couple hours.
You get a day pass for like $50.
But what it does, you know, they're giving you one excursion. Most people choose Dunn's River, and you know they're gonna have fun at Dunn's River. And after they choose Dunn's River, they end up booking two or more, you know, other excursions because Jamaica has a lot to offer. But Butch set up a situation where you can come there comfortably.
What you call Butch?
Yourself.
I'm Mr. Stewart.
Okay.
Go on. Sorry. Go on. You know I'm silly.
Mr. B. But anyway, he you know, he has set a platform up where people can come there, be quiet guests if you want, because they have bungalows, which is what most people choose these days. They're a little bit more pricey, close up to your $1,000 a night, and
my $1,000.
But he has set the trend for the other hotels to follow, and we can give him props for that.
You think I should? I think I'll go now. I think I'll go. Yes.
No, I'll recommend it.
Go get a day pass.
I'm not doing a day pass. So I can't go and give Nikki that nice living for a day and then go on back.
No, let Nikki book a room. You go get a day pass.
Make sure you go to Royal Caribbean. Make sure you go to Royal Caribbean, which is the big one.
That's a Sandals? Where is that one? Mobile?
That's in
that's in Mobile. No, that's
Mobile. So that's the original one then?
Yeah, that's the original one. Yeah.
So that's the best one?
Yeah, that's the best one because you get...
How much am I in Jamaica? 2?
Huh?
They have 2 or 3?
They
Mobile Ocho Negro?
Yeah.
Mobile Ocho Negro.
3.
They have one in Portmore?
No, my.
Sandals Gaza.
But you know, but anybody asks me where's the best hotel to go, I always tell them Sandals, and I tell them take advantage of the multi-hotel tour. You will enjoy it because you go there.
Here. Look, yes, I'm going to do it. The reason I never stay in those kind of places when I go to Jamaica specifically, because when I'm in Jamaica specifically, I want to eat Jamaican food, right? And I expect if I go to one of those places, I'm going to be eating, you know, Italian food and you know all that stuff, which is fine. But when I want to eat. So I don't really expect him to have the best
local
food.
They do. I tell you, they do. They have.
Can I get saltfish at breakfast?
Ackee and saltfish every single morning.
What if I tell him I don't want ackee? Hold the ackee, just beer saltfish.
No, it's already there, even with
no.
Stuff
you call the day before and put in a request. Simple.
So
let me tell you,
I think it's doable because they have the chefs there. They have the chefs right there. You know, you actually see the chefs, and some of them they actually serve the Jamaican food, not the American food. The American food is like a buffet.
I don't want any fried egg and all that. No. Give me my saltfish. No ackee. That's right, ackee. Beer saltfish. Bami. All of that. I don't eat kalalo. No kalalo. Firebun kalalo and pear.
You're not.
So you wait. You always fool.
I want to tell you, you can all get fritters. All have fritters.
You can't get fritters too?
Yes, fritters.
All right.
Yes.
Let me tell Nicky we go in Sandals.
Yeah.
It had never crossed my mind, but it's a shame. But you know, like when somebody like a musician dead.
Yeah.
And you say, oh man, and you start listening to the music. I forgot how much I like this artist. You know, it's like we appreciate certain things after people dead, which is a shame. You know, I send us commercials every day.
Yeah.
You know,
Of course.
but you know, so he had his son was saying he had the saying, like, which was basically his business philosophy, and it's very simple and it applies to everybody. Like, find out what people need, you know, give them what they need and exceed their expectations. It's that simple. Yeah, and that's, if you think about that, just identify a need that people have. Like, people need X, Y, Z, right? And after you find out how to get it to them, and then give them that and more. And he said that's just basically what he did, and just kept it going to, you know, the next level. And so, you know, and so beyond sandals and beaches, he's known for, he was also, you know, the president of the Jamaica Tourist Board for, you know, I said Jamaica, you know, Jamaica's most important industry. And this is another thing which I found out, which is this is someone who really loved Jamaica. And for those who are watching it who really don't know who Butch Stewart is, he also happens to be a white man, right? So you're probably picturing somebody not white. But in the 90s, they were saying that Jamaica's, and I don't understand currency and what moves currency values very well to really explain it, but Jamaica's currency was being devalued, you know, at a rapid pace. And this man put out, in order to stabilize things, put up $1 million US every week in order to stabilize things. 1 million US of his own money. I don't know what he had to buy or exactly how that works, but by him doing that, it stabilized things because he didn't want the Jamaican dollar being devalued. So that just says a lot about, you know, that's a lot. That's a personal commitment to the country. You know, I thought that was you know, that was a big deal. Yeah, man. And I mean, beyond gesture, because that has real monetary value in people's lives. And the other thing, Air Jamaica. Boy, I'm vexed that Air Jamaica didn't fly anymore. I mean, people who are from Jamaica, that's their immense pride. Whether it was losing money or not, it was not our business. To see your country named on an airline, Air Jamaica, was a big deal. You know what I mean? So, you know, when that fell on all kind of financial trouble, so Butch and some partners bought a huge stake in it. So now they ran the airline until it just wasn't profitable anymore, and they decided to do something else. But, you know, just probably the most, I can't think of a businessman, a business person in Jamaica who has had more impact on the country than Butch Stewart. So that was.
Well, I enjoyed riding on Air Jamaica because you get real food when you ride.
Rice and peas and
exactly.
Real
yeah,
food.
man. No peanuts.
No pretzel.
No pretzel. Yes. How do you think about it? Are you giving people like you can't make money like that?
All a full of champagne.
It's nice.
Yeah. And guess
Full
what?
of champagne and drops.
Yeah. No, I don't know about drops. But I think it's a wonderful way to introduce a tourist, any tourist to Jamaica when they're flying in. This is our cuisine. You can all start get up on a plane. Just like when you're going to Vegas and you're not even have to reach a hotel right at the airport, you see slot machine. Jamaica, you can have it where you can start get Jamaican food from in here. Right? And that was a good thing. Because I don't look forward to my food. I bring all my knife and fork. Ready?
Yeah, man. So that's salute Mr. Gordon Butch Stewart for your contributions to our wonderful island. Your legacy will live on forever. Legacy. Have y'all seen Hamilton? I don't have to start a news conversation. It's excellent. But the reason I came to my mind is there's a line at the end, and Sydney Ross asked me this question the other day, like, what does a legacy mean? I don't know why it was on her mind, but she's like, what's a legacy? And so there's a line in the end where I say legacy, it's planting seeds in a garden that you will never see. Right? So it's basically the impact that you leave. Right? You do this work now and it will bear fruit. You'll be dead and gone, but those fruits still going to be here and you're going to leave an impact. So Gordon Bit Stewart, you have left a lasting legacy for generations to come. With that said, final thoughts. Ladies first. Queen Ninja. Ninja woman.
I just want to add to that, as somebody in the hospitality industry who has a retirement plan to open her own property, I definitely looked up to him. I definitely admired his work and work ethic. And sometimes it's funny, people at some of my previous hotels, my coworkers, some of them didn't like me because I was that person that went over and beyond, but my managers loved me. You know what I'm saying? So not only did I anticipate my guests' needs, but I went over and beyond, and they were always so thankful because you're home away from home, and people don't look at it that way. They just go to a hotel, you know, it's just, you know, vacation, whatever. But us who work behind the scenes realize that we encounter people from literally around the world. We have to be respectful and respect how they were raised and different cultures and things like that. And he definitely took pride in Jamaica just like I do. He definitely loved Jamaica like I do. So I definitely, you know, looked up to him and salute to him and RIP to him and condolences to his family. And with that being said, people have heard it 1,000 times. You never know what somebody's going through. It costs nothing to be kind. My guests blessed me so much this Christmas financially. They don't even realize the impact they made on me. They're just people with money who decided to bless me because I was kind to them, because I brought them an extra towel, because I made sure their dog had water while they were gone to work for the day. It costs nothing to be kind to people.
Man, Jojo, when is your church opening? That's the question. Forget the resort. When is the church opening? But all right, so I'm speaking it right now into existence, Jojo. Yes. I didn't even know that was a goal of yours.
Yes.
You are going to have that resort franchise.
Thank you.
In this lifetime, it is going to happen.
I received it.
When, I don't know when and how, it's going to happen. Yes, you exceed people's expectations. That is your calling. We claim it in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Right. Amen.
Thank you.
Lawton Town, boy.
Lawton Town, Burbridge, P.O., St. Anne. You know, I mean, for me,
hey, hold on. Before, have I told you the story? I'm sure I have. So,
sure you have.
So after Special just said that, Uncle Lee, you know, it was Daddy's uncle, Special's grandfather. So the first time we're up here, we got a letter from Uncle Lee. And and so you look at on the address that they put on there, put in our address, 6102 Cooperage or wherever we live at the time, and put Texas, New York, America.
Seriously?
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? Hey, we got the letter.
It's on its way to you.
He had the zip code on there. That's all that matters. So all that, the Texas, New York, America, we got that. We got the letter. So big up yourself, Uncle Lee.
Considering he was a very traveled guy, I don't know how he did that, but I guess
Texas, New York, America.
Somebody give him the address there, man.
That's the same Uncle Lee. Special, I was telling Lion about him used to beat him. Nicest man in the world. Special Lion, Anyway, go on.
Speaking
I bet you forget beaten, yes.
with the family, you know, Jacob Blake, go on all the faith, yeah, man, because, hey, you know, always I go win your battles, but them people are going to pay. I believe in karma. Stacey Adams show you that, hey, if you keep on
Stacey who? Are the shoes named Stacey Adams? Are the shoes that? Clocks. Stacey Clocks.
Oh. Well,
Abrams.
Said, yeah, go on all the faith, go on, push it. You know, you're going to make it. And, you know, your work will float to the top. You know, when you keep pushing. And, you know, for the people that might climb over a wall of Washington, I don't know, man. They don't have no money in there now.
Bullet!
They don't have no money in there. So, you know, I mean, it's just a great option for anything because no matter what you want to do, the results still are going to be the same. Rude boy have to go pack up by the 20th. So, you know, and for everybody out there, think about other people. Wear your mask, take the vaccine if you get an opportunity.
Take your vaccine.
Yeah, take your vaccine, man. You know, and I mean, just love one another.
On the two hard years. Yeah.
Man.
Mr. Texas.
Yo. So, I'm just gonna ride on Jolene's coattails tonight. She had very great points. But and Mr. Butcher's on the mind, so I just want everybody just be the person that makes someone else feel special. A little act of kindness goes a long way. Okay, and that includes wearing a mask. It's not for you per se, but what you're doing is protecting somebody else from, you know, potentially getting the virus. So wear your mask. Okay. RIP to Mr. Butch, and I have to do more research on him myself because the way I found about him was through the airline deal. Okay, I didn't know about sandals or anything like that. So shout out to him, and definitely, definitely. Well, of course we heard that, but I didn't actually know about how he acquired his money. But his philosophy is one, you know, to live by. You understand what I'm saying? Set a level of expectation and exceed it. Once you do that, hey, your business takes off because people don't actually, you know, necessarily buy a product; they buy from a person. So remember that.
100%. You know, I'm really glad we ended on this note, right? I think about, you know, we started off the show. I mean, just the madness that's going on in this country right now. Who knows what's going on in DC right now? We haven't been watching the news. I don't know what's going on. I mean, the whole shit might be on fire. You know, I don't even know. But you know, it's you know, yes, those are important words to live by. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're, you know, an hourly employee or salaried employee, exceed expectations, and you will go far in life. You know, and so, you know, just to touch back on the legacy thing, that as that applies to Stacey Abrams, right? No matter what happens in her career from now on, I don't know what she wants to do next. I know she wants to be the governor of Georgia, and if that's still what she wants to do, then I hope she gets it. But whatever she does from this point forward, her legacy is secure because that effort that she has made over the past 10 years to dedicate her life to get people registered to vote will change this country. Has changed this country already.
It has.
You know, I mean, you know, because, you know, once you get people involved in the voting process, which is something I learned once we did the voting drive that Cool Runnings the other day, because people kind of tend to do what their friends and family do. So now you, as the first person in your family who's now registered to vote, now your cousin going to start voting, or your other friend going to start voting, and you can really change communities that way. So by virtue of the fact that she has be able to make these changes in this important state where these important things can be done long before Stacey Abrams is gone from this earth. That work that she has done will establish her legacy. And I was at this was, I don't know, back before COVID times, and I was talking to some people, some pretty accomplished people like doctors and lawyers and whatever, and it went beyond like surface conversation. It wasn't people that I knew very well, and one guy was just asking, so what do you want your legacy to be when you leave this earth? And I think, and then I thought about it for a second. I gave him my answer, but when I think about how we go about our day and the things that we prioritize and things that we think about, if you think in terms of how do I want to be remembered when I leave this earth, that's what you should invest your time and effort in. Whether it be a school or a hospital or whatever you want, some foundation, whatever those things are, the things that are most important to you, that you want 100 years from now for people, hey, he did or she did these things and had left this impact. Start working on that stuff now. It will drive you each and every day. If you hate your job right now and you start thinking about that, and that's what you're working towards, it will motivate you to do your absolute best in everything. So I want to end on that note. Politics is what it is. Trump and them, what will happen will happen. I don't pray about that, and it will work out as it should. So we'll leave on that positive note. But Stuart, you've left a lasting legacy. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Just Reasoning, justreasoning.com, rebelTV.tv, facebook.com/mysoulrebel, Just Reason group on Facebook. To my esteemed co-hosts, thank you once again. Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'll see you next week. If the world is still here, who knows what's going to happen? All right, bless up, family. One love.
Peace.